What's good, y'all? Welcome back, man, to the Nick Swisher Show. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Episode 6. We've got a killer episode lined up for y'all. Just wanted to check in on everybody. Make sure you guys had the most epic weekend ever, because I know I did. Listen, Thursday, Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday of the year. It was absolutely magical. Ate everything times 2. Didn't exactly feel good after that, but at the end of the day, I hope all of y'all ate as much as I did, because it was totally worth it. And Gammy, that pumpkin pie was the best pumpkin pie I've ever had in my life. No doubt about it. Absolutely amazing. And then on Friday, I had my birthday. 42 years young, y'all. Absolutely. Thank you so much for all that birthday love. I felt absolutely amazing on that day. Got some amazing gifts. Got a full swing launch monitor for all you golfers out there. You know what I'm talking about. I'm going to have my distances locked in before you know it. I'm coming for everybody. Tahoe, I'm going to be at that celebrity tournament, bro. I'm coming for all you guys. I'm going to be down the scratch before you know it. It was absolutely amazing. And then on Saturday, little disappointing day, right? I'm an Ohio State Buckeye. Obviously, we got absolutely waxed by Michigan. There's no other way of putting it. I mean, think about it. In the shoe, the weather was nice. Everybody at Ohio State was feeling extremely good until the second half started, right? Missed a couple tackles, a huge couple long plays. Defense didn't exactly play as well as I thought they would have. But at the end of the day, listen, that Ohio State-Michigan matchup is one of the best games to ever watch, especially in college football. Last 2 years in a row, Michigan's had our number. But I can promise you, Coach Day's going to get those boys ready. 2023, Michigan, we are coming for y'all. You guys better be ready, because we're coming up to the big house, and we're going to put it on y'all. Y'all can write it down and say it right here. Episode 6, Nick Swisher said Ohio State's coming up to wax Michigan's ass next year, bro. Can't wait for it. But it was amazing. I hope everybody had an amazing weekend. Listen, getting back into the week now, we've got an amazing episode lined up for y'all. Becca Tobin, she's absolutely fantastic. One of my best friends and our first female guest on the Nick Swisher Show. So I'm going to get right into it right now. The Swisher Mission for this episode is Be Yourself. Everyone else is already taken, by Oscar Wilde. And after you listen to this episode with Becca Tobin, you're going to know why this is the Swisher Mission for episode 6. Ladies and gentlemen, this lady right here, she does it all. She's the co-host of the LadyGang podcast. She's a singer, an actress, a dancer, and she's a new mom to a 9-month-old little boy, baby Ford. He's one of the cutest kids on the planet. Everybody, please welcome one of my favorites. She's an absolute boss, the pride of Marietta, Georgia. One of my favorites, the one, the only, Miss Becca Tobin. What's up, Becca? What's happening?
Hello. That was a great intro.
I tried to hype it up a little bit, pump you up, let you know, hey, I'm really juiced to have you on here today. I mean, come on. You're a podcast legend.
You had me at a cute kid, because we all get scared that our kid's not cute.
Well, you guys don't have to worry about that. You and your husband, Zach, obviously one of my best friends. He's an absolute dreamboat in my mind. Yes. But I mean, come on, like, how is it, right? How's life, right? I mean, you're a new mom, 9-month-old. I mean, you guys are right in the middle of it right now.
We're in it. And, I'm lucky because I have a partner in Zach that's a very similar type to you. You guys are in it as much as we are. Thank God, because the amount that I've had to travel with this baby and just be away physically, and also just like in another room locked away for several hours. It's so hard. And everybody talks about the balance. And I'm convinced that if I'm working, I'm going to be feeling guilty no matter what I'm doing. And if I'm here with him, there is still a baby part of my brain that's like, you should be working, you should be grinding, you should be hustling. So does that ever end?
Listen, I mean, I was going to ask you about this. I mean, that was later in the interview, but let's get into this. I mean, listen, you're dominating on all fronts right now. If you think about it, you guys' podcast is dominating. You guys came out with your new book, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But I think the biggest thing, and I have a wife that is a working mom as well. And I don't think it just has to do with working in entertainment. I think it's just any sort of job where you have to leave your children and you are, and listen, I've been married for 12 years coming up in December, and I know who rules the roost in my house. I know who runs the ship. I know that when she's not here, it's not right. And I know from talking to Zach, it's the same in your house. But there's also a little bit different of guilt from a father to a mother. And being gone, if I have to go on a business trip, I don't think about it 1 second, because it's what I have to do. I don't have that motherly instinct that Joe has, just like you do. Just talk to me a little bit about, not necessarily, I mean, maybe it is a little bit of guilt having to go and leave and not being able to care for your kid on an everyday basis. How hard is that?
Yeah, it's hard and I can't really understand or wrap my brain around it. At first, I thought I was immune from that kind of stereotype because we had Ford via surrogate. So I didn't physically carry him. I didn't breastfeed. And so I started traveling in the beginning and I was like, oh, this is pretty easy because I'm not his only source of life. I'm not the only person that can take care of him in a certain way. So I felt really grateful that I was able to go out in the world as a man would after having a baby.
Sure.
Physically, they're all intact. They're feeling great. Some guys even get into better shape, which I think is a real dick move when your wife is pregnant.
Totally.
Dick move. But we'll get back to that. So I was like, you know what? This is how guys feel. And I was doing so great. I was so great until he got to be about 6 months old and wasn't a blob anymore.
Right.
And they're interacting and they're reaching for you. And so it got harder and harder to leave. But I think the reason for women in general is because it's only been a few generations of women to be working as hard as men do outside the house. Like it is just, that's it. My mom was a working mom. She was an attorney. And I remember she was the only mom of all of my girlfriends who had a full-time job. So this is such new territory for women and for mothers. And so we're stumbling through. And my hope is that women all feel the same way that you do. They get on their plane and they go do business because they know that that's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And I give myself that pep talk all the time, but it just doesn't, I have a long way to go.
You have to be able to give yourself a little bit of grace only from being a parent for, obviously, my daughters, Emmy and Sailor. And
The
the
best.
one thing that I love that is happening in my home is that my wife is setting the bar so high.
Yeah, she
And by
is.
the way, it's funny because you said your mom was the only working mom. Now, when I look around my circle of individuals, there's not one single mom that's not working.
It's
And I
true.
think that's the power shift you're talking about. And now women are out there kicking ass and doing what they need to do. Because for me, that's power. One of the biggest turn-ons that I have for my wife is the power that she has in her life, and
Yeah.
just the respect that she commands. Like, bro, that's a turn on to me. And it's like, that's what women like you have. And it's hard, but you got to be able to give yourself a little bit of grace, knowing that what you're doing in the world is setting a bar for an
Yeah.
individual to know that working hard is the way to go about life.
It's true. But you and Joe have a really beautiful way of, you both are some of the hardest working people and successful people that I've ever known. But it's so obvious in your family that energetically you make it so clear to those girls that they are the priority. Like it's a crazy balance and you've struck it. And it's so awesome to watch and be able to see you guys do that with your girls.
Oh, I mean, that means the world to me that you're saying that. I mean, obviously, I think it's just the intention of what you're
Yeah.
trying to accomplish, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to dominate the world. I'm trying to be the best version of myself each and every day. And I think we're all trying to do the same, but that doesn't mean that I'm still not a kick-ass dad and I can't
Yeah.
do all my dad duties and I can't be the best girl dad that was ever created, because you and your sister, bro, like your dad, he
Yep.
knows that feeling. He
Yep.
knows what it's like having two girl dads. And I think being a first time mother and being able to go through all the tough times that you and Zach went through to get forward here, I saw it. I was
Oh,
there
yeah.
for a lot of it. And I guess I want to just let you know that you're badass, dude, and you're amazing. Like, you're living your life at the highest level, and you should be so proud of yourself. Don't ever knock yourself for not, being there, because that's the last thing that you will show up all the time, because you are a kick-ass mom, as well as just being able to dominate in the world. So
Thank
know
you. I
that
could
you're
probably be a better wife right now, but like I'm going to pick my battles. You know what I mean?
totally, totally. I mean, listen, we've talked a little bit about motherhood right now, and I think that's amazing. I love the fact that I love being able to have these sort of conversations. These are so not everyday conversations for me. But
Mm-mm.
you know how it is, dude. My life is run by women. I have nothing but powerful women all around me wherever I turn, and it's one of the best things going. I got to get into the LadyGang for a hot minute. I
Yes.
think you've got to give a little bit of a background on exactly what the Lady Gang is to some of the male listeners that we have here. Maybe not haven't heard of Lady Gang, but I can promise you after this episode, check it out and you will listen to it as frequently as I do. Becca, give us a little background on the Lady Gang, right? I mean, you know, Jack,
Kelty.
you guys started this thing up. Like, it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, so I don't think we have a ton of crossover in our demos, although I do think right now you probably have a male heavy audience, but women are going to start coming here too, because like you said, you're a pretty awesome person to have in a woman's life, and because you're surrounded by them, you know them very well. So anyways, we might have some crossover, but Lady Gang started it was 7 years ago, which is mind blowing. A podcast with myself and two other women. One is also in the entertainment industry, but she's more on the journalism side of things. And then one was a female entrepreneur in the fashion space. And we just felt like we were so sick of, especially being an actress, I was so sick of waiting for the phone to ring and not having any control over what I was doing. I could get a phone call that says, hey, you've got to be in Vancouver for the next 7 months. Take it or leave it. There's no flexibility. Or there could be like 4 months where the phone's not ringing at all. And I would have begged to go back to Vancouver for 7 months. It's such a mind. Can I say fuck?
Yes, of course you can.
Great. Oh yeah. Dr. Foot, he dropped some F-bombs.
Hey, right.
I really appreciated that.
I did too, man. It makes him sound like not a psychologist, which You're I really appreciate.
Yes. Yeah. So it was such a mind fuck to have no, ownership or, control over what life was going to bring career wise. So we sat down and we were like, what's the next big thing in media? And Kelty just knew that podcasts were going to be a big thing. At the time, it was like Adam Carolla and like maybe Joe Rogan. There weren't a lot of women in the space. And I thought, this is weird because I think women more than men, to be stereotypical, like sitting around and talking shit. Like we love gossiping. Our endorphins go crazy when we're talking and talking about celebrity stuff, talking about just girl stuff in general. So we just let the floodgates open and we started this podcast. And it's just, we've grown this community of women who are like-minded, where we're all just, we're not going to cover it up and pretend that women are perfect because we're so imperfect. And that's kind of what makes us amazing and it bonds us. So we've written books, we've done clothes, we've done beauty, we've done kind of everything. And it's been an amazing ride because I am the boss of my own life now and it feels amazing.
It does. And even when you say it, it just sounds amazing, right? But it's not an easy thing to get there. I mean, like you said, you Jack, you Kelty, Jack, right? Yourself. I mean, you guys, one of the common themes of your podcast is stumbling through womanhood, right? Obviously, I'm not a woman, but I really appreciate how 100% you guys keep it. I mean, you guys are very open about so many different things. I mean, listen, I mean, I know you guys have told so many different stories, right? In your first book, Act Like a Lady, amazing stories as well. But like, come on, has there ever been like a story that you told where you were like, oh, fuck, man, maybe I shouldn't have told that story, or maybe somebody's going to get me on this one?
I mean, half of my life is telling stories and then later going to bed and being like, did I go too far? Did I take it too far? In the book, it's like the book that we just released, Lady Secrets, it's a combination of essays from ourselves. Look at you with your book.
Come on, dude. I haven't even gotten to pump your book yet, dude. Are you kidding me? All you got to do is open this book. It's like
it's fantastic,
a vagina.
It's a vagina illustration front cover. So we wrote down our own kind of deepest, darkest secrets that, if you can imagine, in 7 years of podcasting, we didn't think there were going to be a lot of things people didn't know, but it turns out we had plenty to share in the book. And then we pulled the community of women to share theirs. We had this anonymous hotline and we put together this whole collection. And what we're finding is that women are so secretive. We don't get caught because we're smarter.
Like, you guys are more organized.
We're more organized and we're better criminals. We can keep secrets. It's just like, it's mind blowing. The amount of women who wrote in that they're cheating on their spouses and have been for 10 years and they don't plan on stopping. It's so crazy. And I know that sounds awful and that sounds like not something to celebrate, but I'm like, men have been doing this for centuries and have been getting caught.
Take that. You're getting yours,
So, I'm not condoning it, whatever. But for myself, the stuff that I didn't talk a lot about on the podcast in depth was fertility stuff. Because it's such a personal conversation to be had. And also there was no way of me talking about on the podcast where I didn't walk away feeling a little guilty for natural feelings of like, miscarriages and having access and resources that other women don't. But I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to tell my story in this book. And that way I can really make sure when I'm writing, I can really be thoughtful as opposed to just blurting it out one day on the podcast. And I did, and I shared that, and I shared stuff that was serious. And then I shared stuff about like when Zach and I first started dating, when he found my dirty underwear in the parking garage of my apartment building. And it was fucking horrifying.
First time, hey, bro, one of the first times that obviously you and Joe, you guys have been friends for so long. And I still remember the first time that you and I, like, we really got to spend some time together was an episode of LadyGang, right? In a competition between me and your husband, Zach, on who knew more about the female vagina. And I was slam certain that I knew everything there was to know about the vagina, up and down, inside out. I had that thing covered. When I quickly realized that I did not. And Zach Martin had everything. I mean, this guy's fantastic. I was like, bro, are you a doctor? How do you know so much about this? But I'll never forget, that was when I really got my first taste of LadyGang on exactly what it was. But I also appreciated the honesty as well as the openness. Because, like, listen, they're kind of like some raunchy things to talk about, but like, everybody's going through this shit. And I think, like, just in general, what I've noticed in this podcast world is sometimes when you just start talking about conversations and you just open up the lines of communication, that's when just the good stuff just starts rolling out of people's mouths. And so even for myself, like, I'm thinking to myself, this is so embarrassing. How do I not know where the fallopian tubes are? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I not know? I should know that, right? But I think that's kind of the one thing that I appreciate most about you is that you're so genuine and you're so secure in who you are as a female. And you're also just a go-getter. And it doesn't matter who's in your way, you're going to go after it. And I think that that's how I would describe the LadyGang, as three women who are go-getters that don't give a fuck and really just want to go out and help the world by telling funny stories as well as emotional stories, right? Like, it's not always easy to talk about that stuff. I mean, you're talking about going through miscarriages. Like, that was one of the saddest moments of our family's life. My brother and his wife are going through right now, with the whole IVF. It's like, it's so hard to get pregnant. It's such a blessing. And it's almost funny. It's like in high school, you feel like if you get close, you're going to get somebody pregnant. But now at the age that I'm at now, I'm like, dude, knowing that this is real stuff that people are going through. I mean, on an everyday basis.
Yeah. I mean, this comes back to like just women being more career driven. Like, we're starting families later. And that's just, unfortunately, our bodies are not necessarily made to have bear children at the late 30s, early 40s. I mean, we do it, we figure it out, but like, it's pretty wild to have that. And also to be the type of woman who is used to having a goal, working really hard, and you're just like, well, this works out, right? Because I'm working so hard, I'm doing all the things, I'm taking all the supplements and seeing all the specialists and acupuncture and all this shit. And then you like keep running into this brick wall, and it's very humbling. But as a woman, you're like, oh, I can't just force things to happen. And sometimes they don't happen the way that you want to, but I wouldn't change it. I would not have gone back and gotten pregnant and had a baby at 22. Like, I like my life now. I'm really grateful. So, everybody has their journey, and that was ours. And we finally have this baby. Thank God.
And he's so damn cute, dude. I mean, for real. Hey, just give us a little background. You came up with the name Ford. Any certain reasoning for his name?
So Zach's family, his mom's side of the family, their last names, a lot of them is Rutherford. So his legal name is actually Rutherford, but I was like, well, he's not going to be a dork. I mean, we need a cool nickname because that's not great. And Ford was just kind of a dope nickname from Rutherford. And there are some Fords out there. Like, I think it's becoming a little bit of a trendy-ish name, but it just felt solid. It felt like it fits
for the
him.
record, like, I wanted you to say his full name out there before I did, But by the way, I think it's a dope ass name. And later in life, it's gonna be a struggle in first grade when he's got to write that shit
I
Rutherford
know.
all the way out if he wants to do that. But he can just go with Ford. We'll
Poor
love him
kid.
either way, dude. However he wants to go about doing it.
Yeah. So that, yeah, I mean, naming boys is really hard.
It is.
It's
Girl
so
names
hard.
were so much easier. We had a list of them, but we
Yeah.
only had like 2 or 3 boys. I mean, obviously the big man upstairs is like, bro, you're having girls,
Yeah.
hands down, no doubt about it. But you're right. Finding a boy name is tough. And you don't want to do a junior. I was never going to do a junior. That was the last thing. I mean, what, you want another Zach Martin Jr.
No.
in your life? I'm not quite sure we want that, do we?
We certainly don't. He would love it.
He would dig it, bro. He would love everything about that.
Hey, everybody. Ryan Leaf here. We are about to drop 3 bonus episodes for my podcast, Bust, the Ryan Leaf Story, the most honest, transparent, and vulnerable podcast you will hear. Me in front of a microphone taking you through the start to the finish, right here on PodcastOne.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Find your mental help this holiday season at betterhelp.com/Swisher. This holiday season, check it. Do something special for a special person in your life. Guess who that special person is? It is you. Give yourself a gift to raise your spirits and not just for the day. The holiday can be a really tough time between managing family dynamics. Listen, I know about that. Racing from one thing to the next and braving the cold and dark weather. It's normal to feel down and a little depressed. Having someone to talk to about how you're feeling and what you can do about it is truly a gift. Listen, I started working with a psychologist my first year in New York, and I wish I would have done it a lot sooner. The fact that I had an understanding of who I was made me a better athlete, and I can promise you, the more you understand yourself, the better life that you're going to live. And as the world's largest therapy service, BetterHelp has matched 3 million people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists, 100% online, and plus, check it, it's affordable. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to match with a therapist. Listen, if things aren't working out, we can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. It could not be simpler. No waiting rooms, no traffic, and no endless searching for the right therapist. We will find you the best. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Swisher. One more time, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Swisher. I want to dig into this book a little bit. I want to pump it really quick, right? Lady Secrets, right? This is the second book, right? Act Like a Lady came out in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, right? And you guys just launched this a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, September. Well, yeah. I mean, feels like it just came out because it's like still very brand new, fresh little, our second child, if you will.
Yes, exactly.
We've been on the book tour actually promoting it. So we're still like in that mode. And yeah, it's wild. There are some crazy stories in there. There's a woman who has, she has a tail, which is not the medical term for it, but I guess there's people out there who the end of their tailbone actually creates, hers might be,
it protrudes out a little bit.
It protrudes out and it's like a kink for some guys. There's one woman who's been sleeping with her kid's swim coach who's like way younger than her. No shade, but she's married. And she's been, having sex with her kid's swim coach. There's a lot in there. It's great.
What's like, this is your second book. Obviously, you guys have just been through so many experiences in life. I mean, I love the fact you guys keep coming out with books. I mean, obviously, I'm hoping. I mean, it's a New York Times bestseller. That's unbelievable. I mean, that's got to be such an amazing thing to be able to call yourself, bro. I don't know if that's ever going to happen in my life.
Well, let me tell you something. I actually think it could happen in your life, but if we made the Times list with Act Like a Lady, then something's wrong in the world. Like we are not intelligent women. We are not, we're not really like breaking barriers when it comes to the written word. But somehow I think our community just really rallied behind us and they got it done and they got books sold. And I just have no idea. I'm still mind blown because I think it's like I write it down if I'm doing like a bio or something. And I'm like, this feels like I'm such a fake. Like I'm such a fraud. Imposter syndrome, like crazy, because unlike sports, there's no stats. It's like, I mean, yes, you sell books, but like the actual book that we're putting out there, it's hard to know when you're writing it if it's good or if it's bad or if it's entertaining or if it's garbage. Like, it's so scary to put something out there that you can't really know for sure.
I think that's what this podcast world is, dude. I'm scared shitless, right? I'm still doing it because I'm just putting one foot in front of the other and just trying to continue to go out and do my thing. But I mean, listen, like what's one of those things that you've learned from writing these books, right? I mean, obviously you have to dig deep. You got to remember these stories. You know, kind of what's one of those like silver linings that have come out of writing this book that maybe you kind of brought into your life?
Oh my gosh, so many. So we've been going around the country the last 2 months and meeting people face to face who have read the book or listened to the book. And it's been really touching because I thought that stories that I were that I was writing were a waste of energy, or I was a little scared. I was really, really, really scared to write the essays on fertility, just because there was stuff in there that I was embarrassed and felt a lot of shame around. And so what I learned was that, just like the podcast, just like everything, my intention, as long as it is to open up the conversation by putting myself out there, then I'm doing the right thing. And it's not to get attention. It's not to get press. It's not to do anything outside of have those interactions where I go out in the world and a girl pulls me aside quietly and says, this chapter, I just went through it, and thank you so much for being so honest, because I thought I was the only person with these feelings. So that, to me, in anything that I do now, I'm so focused on what's the reason behind it. And if it's anything other than really genuine wanting to share for the betterment of just to make it easier for another woman or person, that's it. I have to do it. And that's like what you're doing.
Doing things for others. What a shocking thought, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
I know.
It is. And even for myself, right? You know, like I just feel like, you know, it's like that almost sort of like almost delayed gratification, to where you feel like you just continue to keep putting in the work and you continue to keep doing what you think is right. Not that you're seeing any sort of gratification up front. I mean, yeah, for maybe a couple book sales from here and there, but I'm thinking to myself, if I had somebody come up to me, and I've had a few people throughout my life come up and be like, man, either for me, it wasn't necessarily a story. It's, man, hey, maybe that baseball you gave me or that home run you hit. It's like, when you can meet these people face to face, I guess my question is, how much of an impact do you think it is when we're getting back to normal life again, right? We've got people face to face again. Mm-hmm. The communities are coming back. I mean, for you guys to be able to be there and put on your shows, you know, almost every week, being on tour, how awesome is it being on the road? I mean, is it as fun as what I thought it was back in my 20s, or is it a little different now?
No, let me tell you something. In your 20s, this shit was so fun. I mean, if I could just go back and have experienced this in my 20s before having all these other responsibilities, I'm sure it's the same. Like with baseball in the beginning, it's like you're just nose to the ground. You have your bag, you're going wherever, you're really hyper focused on that one thing, and you have so much fun. And those relationships that you make, like me and Kelty and Jack on the road, like the bonding is out of control. It's so fun, but we're not in our 20s anymore. And it is really fucking hard to sleep on a tour bus. But getting out there in the world, that is such an important element to all of this, because kind of like you said, you can go out in the world and someone can be like, this thing you gave me, or you gave me a shout out, or when you played for this team, or when you were on that TV show, it really meant a lot. But I'm going to tell you now that you are going to realize that when you start going out in the world, similar to us, like people are going to be connecting with Nick, the person. And when they start connecting to you as the person and not the thing that you do, and you're making an impact by being you, it kind of brings you to your knees. You're like, holy shit. Yeah. I've gotten people come up to me and be like, I loved you on Glee. And I'm like, well, that's great. I mean, I was saying other people's lines. I was wearing other people's clothes. I was playing somebody that's not me. And then you open yourself up into this big medium and you're like, well, here I am, pretty raw. And people are still resonating. And those are the compliments that I get out in the world that really it's mind blowing, and it never gets old.
I love that. It's got to be so amazing. Just
Get ready.
All these individuals. You know, I was just thinking of myself, like just from traveling across the country as much as I have throughout, you know, my playing career and the whole nine, I remember those sleeper towns and those fun places that maybe nobody thought were amazing, like Baltimore, Maryland, bro. I had a blast in Baltimore, right? Like of all places. So I guess like what are some of those like cool places? I mean, obviously, you're going to a bunch of huge metropolitan cities, but are there any cool spots that you three rolled through where you were like, holy shit, this place is amazing?
Well, it's definitely still metropolitan, but I had not spent any time there. Columbus,
Oh,
which
talk to me. OH, baby. You know it.
I know. I was sad that we didn't spend more time there, and I didn't feel that way about a lot of the cities. I was kind of like, okay, Akron. I've seen it. Thank you.
Totally, dude.
No
Now,
shade
see,
to Akron. I'm sure there's
in my
lovely
mind,
people.
Columbus has that huge, that like it's got that big downtown kind of capital
Yeah.
feeling to a city, but it's also got that college vibe to it, right? It kind of
Yes.
reminds me, and you guys know a little bit about this. It's almost like, University of Texas is right there
Yep.
in Austin, and it's kind of got, you still got a little bit of the city, but you also got that college town too, which, you got a couple professional sports teams in there, but like, dude, Columbus, obviously, Ohio State. I'm a big OH guy. I mean, I
Yeah.
dig it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Next time when you guys roll through there, I got you guys covered. I got some spots for you. I'll get
Yes.
you off that tour bus, put you in a nice hotel, guys.
Yes, please.
I got somebody for y'all.
Perfect. Yeah, I really liked it. And I like the people there. It's just like, doing what we do for a living, you don't really find yourself anywhere close to the middle of the country often. Like we're doing all of our stuff, which is wonderful, but I don't know. It was really, it's just a cool place and the people are awesome.
Yeah, I love that you love it. It makes me smile. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's a good place.
Listen, you're so amazing by helping so many people from your stories, right? And you're a parent right now. And I got to ask you only because you're right in the thick of all this. You're changing diapers, you're away, you're currently going through all of this. And obviously, it's a pretty thankless job right now as a parent.
Yep.
I guess what's your best piece of advice for parents, right? People that are listening to the show, what's your best piece of advice for parents or future parents out there that are going through that are in the trenches right now?
God. I mean, I've only been at this for 9 months. And so I feel like, God, I received so much unsolicited advice that I'm so scared to give it. But I'm gonna try.
It is crazy that people don't have kids are not scared to just tell you how it's supposed to be.
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
wait until my brother has kids. I can't wait, dog. I can't wait.
It's so true. It's such a weird thing. I'm like, I can't imagine telling, but people do it all the time. So, I think for me, I anticipate a lot. Like I am a naturally anxious person, and so I am always like 10 steps ahead and anticipation of good, bad, or ugly, whatever it is. I remember he was starting to eat solid foods, and it was, the 6-month mark, and I was like agonizing, and I was on these Instagram accounts, and I was following all these people and all these experts in quotes. And I had a moment with my brother-in-law where I was kind of expressing some anxiety surrounding whatever that next chapter, next phase, solid food, whatever it may be. And this is Zach's sister's husband. His name's Jake. And he has it figured out. You know what I mean? He's one of those people where you look at him and you're like, God, you can do it all. And you've got it. You're level headed. I'm like, what is that even fucking like? And he was like, you know what you're supposed to do. It is as simple as that. As a parent, So he was like, you're going to know if you stop anticipating and overthinking and really tap into that intuition, as cheesy as it is, you're going to know what's good for your kid. You're going to know what's best for your kid. And he was right. And I really did sit with that for a while. And I unfollowed a lot of the mommy bloggers. I unfollowed a lot of the experts because I just felt like it was so much information coming at me. And I'm grateful for that at times as being a parent. And you've been there too, where you're like, my kid has this rash. I'm going to Google, all day and all night. And then sometimes it is helpful.
Sure. But then like hand, foot, and mouth comes up and I'm like, I never want to see that again in my life. Dude.
Ever. Ever. So I'm grateful for technology and people out there sharing, but I think that I got carried away with leaning on other people to kind of guide me. And when I let that go, I'm able to be more relaxed because I'm like, if I don't give the kid enough vegetables every day, he's going to be all right. Like, he's going to be fine. He is 9 months old. We've got a life to live. He can have as much broccoli as he wants, covered in cheese, once he's 3.
Exactly. I love that. I feel like you're right. As early parents, even when I remember we first had Emmy, it's just like there's never a good time to have a kid, and you never think what you're doing is correct.
No.
So I love that. I love the fact that but also I think it just branches back to who you are as an individual. You're just a boss, dude, and you know what you're capable of doing. You have that power, and a lot of people don't know the power that they possess. And sometimes, not following that spidey sense or that intuition, they'd be a lot better off if they were able to tap into that. So you're awesome, man. What a great piece of advice for young parents. I think that's amazing.
Thank you. I mean,
I'm
open to more, but only if you're a parent.
It's so true, right? I love it, dude. All right. I've got an awesome segment. It's called Swish or That, right? It's from the book, Would You Rather, that me and Emmy and Sailor always play. A lot of fun questions, and we're going to get you going. So, Becca Tobin, are you ready to play Swish or That?
I think so.
All right, here we go. First question. The all famous, would you rather fly or be invisible?
Oh, shit. Fly.
Oh, no doubt. You know why? Because you travel as much as I do.
Exactly.
And you're in airports, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why I'm flying too. Fuck that invisibility shit. I'm out of that.
Yeah, no.
All right,
I don't want to be invisible. I don't want to know what's happening when I'm not in any room. Like, no thanks.
I don't need to know that. I don't want to know.
No.
All right, here we go. Window seat or an aisle seat?
Window all day long.
It is amazing. I've asked that question to so many people, and everybody says they want to be on the window, not necessarily to cuddle up on the window, but be able to look out and to see what's going on.
Mine is to cuddle up. I keep that situation down, the shade down, and I cuddle up, and
you're the best person to sit next to you. You will cuddle up in the corner. You will be so far over on the right hand side, won't even know you're there. It'll just be pitch black. You won't get up one time to go to the bathroom. You're a perfect person to sit next to you on the plane.
No liquids on an airplane.
Okay, here we go. Drama, romance, or comedy movie? Which one?
Comedy all day. All day.
I you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I thought you would jump into that romance a little bit. I know you got a soft side. I know you do.
I've done too many Hallmark movies. Romance it's over for me. I like the comedies that are like This Is 40. There's some romance in there, but it's real.
It's real romance. Totally, bro. Oh,
real
my
romance.
God. Dude, when she goes and absolutely berates him at school, that's one of the funniest scenes I've ever been part of. When he calls him with his Tom Petty haircut. Oh, my God. Me and Joe still roll at that every time we hear it. So if you haven't seen This Is 40, go check it out, man. Absolutely
the best.
Fantastic flick for sure. All right, we got to know a little bit about your baby boy, Ford, right? Is he a mama's boy or a daddy's boy?
He vacillates. It's like some days he's really into me and some days he's really into Zach. There's something about dads, and tell me, I'm sure this is the case with you guys. What is it? From the day that Ford could laugh, he only laughs at Zach. Zach is the person that can get him to laugh. And I do the exact same moves on him that Zach does. And he is like, he'll give me like a courtesy chuckle, but he belly laughs for Zach. And I'm like, Zach, you're not even that funny. Like, is that a dad thing?
As much as I love my guy, Zach, and I think for myself too, I can only go on personal experiences. When a child sees me, they're like, no way that guy is human, right? That guy's like a Muppet or something. No way he's that loud. No way his facial expressions, no way his face can move that much. So I know what I get on my side. But I definitely know that Zach and Ford have such an amazing relationship.
It's so cute.
Right now, they're so tight, those two, and they kind of look alike. It's a good thing because Zach's got a good head. He's got a bald head, so that's good. So Ford's got that going for him, which is nice. Hopefully he can keep the hair from your side of the family for a little bit longer than Zach did.
Well, I think Zach's situation happened from like steroids in college. I think that was like some black market.
When he was all shredded out, bro, just meat headed out, dude. He was digging it, dude.
Loved it.
All right. Are you a sing in the car type of girl, or are you more of a dance in the car type of girl?
If I'm alone, I will sing so loud, but I will not sing in a car if there is anyone in the car with me.
Which is actually funny because you're actually a really, really good singer as well as a dancer. So I kind of thought you might mix and match a little bit of both,
Dancing, I actually don't mind doing in front of people. It's the singing. I don't know. I think it's when you do something professionally at a certain time in my life. I mean, right now I probably suck so bad. I haven't done it really seriously in such a long time, but that people are going to be more critical. It's like if you were just to like walk into a batting cage, wouldn't you feel a little bit of like, ooh?
No doubt. I'm 100%, dude. Like the fear is real, 100%. Yeah. But I can't move like you, player. Like I can't dance like that. So, I mean, bro, I can swing the bat. I mean, you want me to hit in the batting cage? I got you covered. I can do that, but not that dancing thing, dude.
Yeah, I'm a good wedding dancer.
There you go. There you go. And that wedding in Spain was probably badass. I'm sure you guys had an awesome time there.
Wonderful.
Sure that was
so good.
Magical. It was great. All right. Are you a text girl or are you a phone call girl?
It depends with who. There's a few people that I don't mind talking on the phone to. Like my sister is a couple times a day person. And I have really good friends that I still prefer text. Like I don't know. I'm sad that the phone call is going away.
It is.
Right?
It is. Yep. The communication is going away for sure, no doubt.
And it's a little bit of a bummer. You know who calls and I love is Jo, your wife. She's a good phone caller.
Great phone caller, dude. You know what? But I think that's why she has such amazing friends.
Yep.
I think she spends a lot of time on the phone, but it's all just catching up with her girls and checking in and making sure everyone's okay. And I think that's another one of the reasons why I love her so much. She's always thinking of other people. And I think that's why she has so many friends. Dude, listen, at my funeral, there's going to be like 12 people. At her funeral, bro, they're going to have to just open the floodgates because everybody is going to show up for her. So I'm learning slowly but surely.
You're going to have a lot of people at yours too. Okay. You are very loved. But when you marry Joanna Garcia, she is the people's princess.
Dude, she is. I've always said I'm a man of the people, but dude, I'm not even close. Dude, she's the queen, dude, no doubt. She's like, and not only that, I think even just the way that she goes about, just the way she treats people she's never met before, it's unbelievable. I mean, you do it too. Like the way you guys treat people in public is unbelievable. I'm like, wow. But that's why you guys are who you are. It's unbelievable, dude.
Thank you.
Are you messy or are you neat?
I'm neat.
Okay. All right.
Unless I'm getting ready to go somewhere, I will leave my bathroom covered in makeup and my closet there'll be clothes on the floor, but it will be picked up and I will address it within 12 hours.
Okay. So all right. Done and done. We're cool.
I have to admit my flaw.
Okay. I haven't read all the stories in the book so far, and I don't know if there's any homecoming or prom stories, but back in the day, was homecoming your jam or was prom your jam?
Weird. I was just thinking about prom yesterday and I don't remember why, but I only went to homecoming once. But prom, I went to like 6 proms because I really, really I think it was an internal goal that I wanted to go to as many schools proms as I possibly could. So I started politicking my way into all of them. So whether it was like making a guy think that I had a crush on him so that he would ask me to his prom, I did that. I mean, I targeted a lot of different men from different schools, boys. Sorry, they were boys. And I went to 6 proms and
That's a record. That's a record. I've never met someone going to 6 proms before.
Yeah.
Like maybe like 3 or 4 because you're in school for 4 years, but no. You took it to a whole new level.
Yes. I had a goal and I achieved it.
It sounds that is par for your life, sweetheart. No doubt about it.
Psychopath.
Okay. Are you all about, you think, what is more important, book smarts or street smarts?
Street smarts all the way.
I 100% agree with you on that. No doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely feel like you gotta have it.
I am impressed though by really cerebral, like intellectuals. I think that they're a really interesting breed. But I don't want that. I mean, I feel like
it's too much, man. My guy, Joe Madden, cerebral guy, ex-manager, he's up there. And bro, I swear when I'm talking to him, I can just see his brain moving when he's talking. And I'm like, bro, I don't know how you're thinking of all those different things. I'm just trying to think like what my next note is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I can't live like that.
No doubt. All right. Last question for Swish or That with Miss Becca Tobin, right? Lake house, beach house, mountain house. Where are you going?
Shit. Well, I'm going to your lake house.
Okay, so beach house, mountain house. Listen, you're a Georgia girl, right? I mean, where are you going, right?
Now that I live in Texas, I appreciate a good mountain house because this state gets so fucking hot. and so humid and disgusting in the summer that for the first time in my life, I was like, we got to get a mountain house. We've got to go somewhere when it gets really, really hot and escape. So there we go. Mountain.
I love it. We need a mountain house. We don't have a mountain house.
We got to get one
you
in
can
the
come to that
fam.
lake house anytime. You, Zach, Ford,
The
and
best.
whatever you want to bring there, you got it. Anyways, Becca, thank you so much for keeping it real today. So happy to have you on here. This is absolutely such a treat. Glad we got a chance to catch up. And listeners, be sure to grab a copy of the LadyGang book, Lady Secrets, Real, Raw, and Ridiculous Confessions of Motherhood. I promise this book will not disappoint, as well as the first book, if you hadn't got a chance to read it, Act Like a Lady by the LadyGang. I'm telling you, one of these days, are there any male LadyGang members? Because if there is, I'm definitely coming for it. I feel like I could be a good addition to the crew. You think that's possible?
You're in. You're in.
All right, dude. I love it. Dude, keep on rocking it with the LadyGang. I'm going to join in one of these days too. And also in motherhood, could not be more proud of you and Zach and baby Ford. He's absolutely such an absolute blessing. Your advice about relying too much on internet guidance is something we all needed to hear. And I think we all need to trust our intuition a little more, especially in days like these. Man, tell my man, Zach, I love him to death. I love you too. Thank you for being here, Becca. You were absolutely amazing.
Love you. Thanks for having me.
Man, what an amazing interview. I'm telling you guys, I told you that's why I love her as much as I do. And I know that you guys love her as much as I do right now after listening to that interview. All right, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. You know what time it is. It is time for People Are Fucking Rad. Let's jump right into this. Here we go. Got to give a lot of love to my girl, Angela Alvarez. My girl, Angela Alvarez, is a 95-year-old lady who hails from Cuba. When she was growing up, she was forbidden to be a musician in her life, but she loved to sing. So guess what just happened? She just won her first Grammy for Best New Artist. Angela, I could not be more proud of you. I love the fact that you're following your dreams and for your never quit attitude and your ability to follow your dreams when other people told you not to. Angela, this makes you fucking rad. Next, I got to give a lot of love to Bill's Mafia out in Orchard Park. I don't know if you guys saw the weather up in Buffalo, but it was absolutely frigid, just feet and feet, a pond full of snow. So guess what? Bill's Mafia showed up. When some of the players couldn't get out of their homes and get to the team airplane to go up to play Detroit this past weekend, guess what Bill's Mafia did? They showed up in snowblowers. They showed up in their overall snowmobiles. They showed up with shovels. They did everything that they could to move that snow so their players could get to that plane and go up and play against the Detroit Lions. And guess what happened? They ended up winning on the last second field goal. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. So Bill's Mafia, for what you did for your team, that makes you guys fucking rad. And last but not least, I got to give a ton of love out to my guy, Johnny Agar, and his father, Jeff. If you have not seen my guy, Johnny Agar, you've got to look him up on Instagram, official Johnny_Agar. This guy is absolutely just one of the best things that you'll see all day long. My guy Johnny has cerebral palsy. And if you know anything about cerebral palsy, you know how it affects your body and your movement and your ability to just be an everyday human being. Johnny and his father just finished their first ever Ironman, dude, 140 miles in 17 hours. Let me tell you what this consists of. Jeff had to pull Johnny 2.4 miles on his swim. He then rode him 112 miles on his bike. And then he finished up with a marathon, a 26.2 mile run. And the best part about this entire race was at the very finish line, at the very end, with just a couple minutes left to spare, Jeff got Johnny out of the bike, put him on the ground, and let him walk across the finish line. I'm telling you, Johnny, you are such an inspiration for everybody, as well as you, Jeff. You are an absolute Iron Man for what you were able to do for your son and just the overall Agar family. Could not be more proud of you guys. We need more families like you out there. And for what you guys are doing, and Johnny, for the inspiration that you are to everybody in this world, brother, that makes you guys fucking rad. No doubt about it. Thank you so much, man, for everybody. That was an absolutely amazing one. I could not have been more proud of all three of those groups of individuals. Now, listen, man, call to action for this week. We always talk about that. We're not just going to listen to the podcast. We're going to take something that we heard and we're going to put it into action. Here is our call to action this week. Trust your gut as a parent. Don't compare yourself to others out there on the internet. Be a first-class version of you. One more time. Be a first-class version of you and not a second-class version of anybody else. You must first fly, y'all. You must first love yourself. You must take care of yourself and be the best version of yourself. Don't go looking for answers on the internet. Trust your instincts as a parent and know exactly what your kid needs. Listen, guys, next week, I've got a guy who's had one hell of a 2022, right? This guy has had some significant loss in his life just recently, and he has still found a way to focus on the good, even starring in his latest role as a lead actor in his newest movie. I'm telling you, I watched it. It's absolutely amazing. I'm not going to tell you who my guy is, but if you want, here's a hint. Check out the film Lamborghini, the man behind the legend. Same time, same place next week, y'all. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. And like we always say at the end of each episode, spread that love, everybody. Peace out, y'all.